Commence primary ignition.
Hey, this is Marty Matulis. I play Vane on The Mandalorian, and you're watching the Virtual Cantina Network.
Good
Hello.
evening.
Welcome.
Who's that over there sitting in the Spencer spot?
Look at that. We got the pirate introduces us. We've got a pirate over here. We've got new people to the Virtual Cantina Network. Oh my gracious, it's a big evening. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome. I am Dave, just one of your floor hosts for the evening. And next to me, I have the pirate, Mr. John Notman. How are you doing this evening?
Are you muted?
You got a little muted there, Notman.
I should say hello there, and great to see you guys, and welcome everybody to tonight's watch along. And it's great to see Skip. We have Skip as a co-host tonight. Wonderful stuff.
So very excited to be here with the boys.
Yeah, looking forward to Dave's thoughts on this week's episode.
So yes, for all of you that don't know, Skip is one of our regular friends on the Virtual Cantina Happy Hour. Has joined us in a lot of the vacations, a regular at Celebration, but new here to the VCN. Welcome. And then, of course, we have Jeff over there at the controls this evening, making us look nice, work well, do the things with the stuff and the junk. How are you doing, Jeff?
I got my phone in the other room, so I'm going to have to go off cam in a second, but I'm doing good. I was just going to I need my phone to check on a message I just got from an individual I was supposed to connect with later tonight.
Oh, a Star Wars individual?
Yeah, and I don't think I'm going to make it. I think it's going to change, but no, she's just telling me to take it easy if I feel like it. Anyways, we'll see. I don't know. I might decide if my foot doesn't start throbbing during the show to jump off very close to the end, or whatever, and go meet up just at a little info list party that's happening tonight in Hollywood. So anyways, that's the possibility.
Well, but always take it easy, feel well, but do the Star Wars things if you can do the Star Wars things. The other cooler Star Wars things than this Star Wars thing.
Yeah, so that's true. But there's not much in the Star Wars other than the individual there, so that's.
So it's interesting you mentioned that Jeff's at the controls tonight. Is that the Razor Crest, or the Falcon, or the Ghost? What do you reckon, Jeff?
What is he controlling?
Well, I'd love to control the Razor Crest, and it has enough room for us all. Falcon does as well. Actually, they all three do.
Just not the bloody Naboo starfighter. It's like, I don't know what are you thinking.
So small. Anyways, I like the Razor Crest, except for it got blowed up, and so far, I don't think the Falcon or the Razor Crest or the Ghost have. So,
yeah. Well, if you guys were not speaking of the ships, and those ships in particular, if you did not watch last night's episode of the Nerf Herder Council on Virtual Cantina Network, you missed a good one. And they were doing a kind of a fantasy football style draft of Star Wars teams. And you started with your ship, and the Ghost was chosen, the Razor Crest was chosen, the Millennium Falcon was chosen. And what was the other one? What else? Did they fly? Oh, it completely escapes me at this
Was it
moment.
the Hammerhead Corvette from Rogue One?
It was not. It was not.
Anyway.
Dang, I should totally. Oh, it was the Marauder from the Bad Batch. It was the Bad Batch, very modified Imperial shuttle. So anyway, the guys sat there and they chose teams. If you want to check out, there's post on the page, both where the video was live, but there's also a check out their team ups and what Star Wars characters they chose to be in a team, and you can vote. You can vote on which one of those team ups do you think would win in a fight. And I'm not gonna spoil some of the concepts that they did there because some of them are stuff crazy. But go check that out.
The combinations are very sort of eclectic in most cases.
Well, as were the individuals doing the choosing.
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of Star Wars ships, vehicles, the things that we love as part of the franchise, I was lucky enough to take one of our very, very close family members to Batuu last Thursday, and they piloted and co-piloted the Falcon with the Smuggler's Run attraction, and I'm sad to say that we almost didn't make it to the first coaxium point. The Falcon was so banged up really badly. It was almost we had a distraught Chewbacca at one point. So, but anyway, it was great fun taking them to Batuu, and I was so happy that they had a great time.
I didn't realize you could wipe out the ship in that ride.
You can almost wipe the ship out that quickly. But yeah,
are you saying the droid is a bad pilot?
The droid should not be piloting, period.
That makes me
not without well practice.
Star Tours now, because that's who's flying that deal.
Yeah, Honda was not happy either. I think that's the only time I've had a negative points result on that attraction. But anyway, great fun anyway. So I'm sure they'll be back to spend some more time with us and pilot it again.
Excellent. That sounds like a whole lot of fun. Yeah, and always a fun event to do that. I love doing that. I tend to drag my family on that. We are going to be cruising back down for Thanksgiving. That's what we are giving ourselves for Christmas again this year, is a trip to Disney World. And
awesome.
Awesome. You got to get on the Falcon if you have never done it. I think I have not done. I don't think I've done the gunner's positions yet.
How many times have you ridden it?
Well, I always choose pilot.
Well, yeah. When you come in as that kind of group, you're going to be able to sort of throw out. I usually come in as a single rider, especially more recently. But the first 2 times I rode it, I was part of a group. As a single rider, very rarely do you get the option of pilot. It's usually taken by one of the people in a full group of 2 or more that was in the regular line, which is a little bit longer. But anyways, so I've done actually on the first day I visited the park in was the Tuesday after open, and it was like June 4th or something in 2019. That day we rode the Falcon 4 times and did both pilots, gunner, and a single gunner and a single engineer. So
I don't think I've ever done either of the gunner positions and at least one of the engineer positions. I've never done.
I've done the engineer. That's actually my only run on the Falcon, is the engineer.
Really?
And it was back during the COVID era when we were all wearing masks. And I remember by the time I got through it, because I have a little bit of eye issues that tend to make me get a little nauseous on those camera rides, as I call them. And I'm in the back, and we get to the end of the ride, and the cast member comes in and is like, "Oh, you need to put your mask on." And I was like, I had to take it off so I didn't vomit. I was hot and sweaty and needed to get some cool air. So I have not yet had a chance to be in the pilot's position, but I'm looking forward to doing that someday.
Talking of gunners, before we start tonight's episode in a little while, what did you think about the parallels between Episode 4 and the original Star Wars movie, New Hope, with the attack on the Millennium Falcon by the TIE fighters? Did you draw a parallel? Obviously, with Sabine being in the gunner's seat.
That was very good.
There was, of course, the moment where you want to yell, "Don't get cocky, kid."
Yeah, exactly.
We were just waiting for that, but it didn't come. It annoyed me because I understand why it took Luke a while to get it, but why was the Mandalorian that bad at the gunner position? That was just annoying.
Seems like that would have been something she would have done already as well.
Yeah. And since you saw, I don't remember if it was that episode, it was probably the episode before, that she'd lived there on that ship. She had her little doodles on the bunk. It wasn't like the first time she's been the opportunity to be in the gunner spot on that ship.
Was that Ahsoka's ship, or was that the Ghost that you're talking about?
I thought they were on Ahsoka's ship.
And yeah, they were on Ahsoka's. They were on the Jedi ship.
Okay.
Yeah. But we had already seen
sense that there would be her ship.
Yeah, but we'd already seen that she had lived on that ship. They had shown it ahead of time, that the bunk with the little loth cat doodles.
Well, this is where I go into that bag that I hate to get into, and I say, because it moves the story forward. Not that it follows suit to the characters that we've seen in the past, but because it moves the story forward.
Would it have slowed it down so much if she had just shot the shit out of all of them?
Would have worked for me. I would have felt it a little bit more.
Yes.
But I did love the correlation between A New Hope and this scene, because it was like, okay, she's going to say the line. You were just waiting for the "Don't get cocky, kid."
Well, and I thought I think it was that space battle. I like the parallels back to the prequel trilogy as well, with the old school like headband that they're wearing in the attacking ship. They're wearing that kind of comm gear.
It was very much like the one that Anakin and Obi-Wan wore in one of the battles they were in.
Yeah.
I think there was somebody did a side by side, but there's a lot of callbacks. Some of them are more obvious than others, and some of them, I'm like, that's a good callback, but you should have said, one more word or something to complete it.
Right.
And like Jason saying, "I have a bad feeling." You really need to say "about this."
Yeah. I was like, where's the end of that line?
I mean, it is the basis of the line, but for the most part, there's an ending when it's said.
Well, and it's not like that would be completely fan service to do it, because it's not like there is a history of that line, both a bad feeling about this and a good feeling about this, that has been said throughout multiple films in the saga.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I think the way you execute it and the context, the meaning behind it. You're right. I was like, just say that a little bit more, just to make us smile and reminisce about the past movies or episodes or whatever it is. So it's great.
It would be like Obi-Wan saying hello.
Right. Right. Well, which they did to us in Kenobi. We did finally get hello there, but he had done that several times in the early episodes. He went hello, and I'm like,
where's the rest of that?
I'm sitting here. Yeah, that's like waiting. One shoe dropping. I'm waiting for all of it.
Yeah,
there's been tons of those. We'll see a million. We'll see a lot in this episode.
Yeah.
There's visual callbacks. There's lines. There's situations. So I like it.
What I loved this episode is there will be little nitpicky things, and I sit there and I look through a dozen other groups, and it's like I think it's overwhelming love, but there's those that just can't help but find something to pick apart, and I'm sure we will find things to pick apart during the episode as well. But
I've always taken it as almost like oh, look at me, I found something, Not that I dislike it because I found something, but it's just like, like reading the newspaper and finding the mistakes in the newspaper. I'm watching the Ahsoka and finding mistakes in it. I still love Ahsoka. I'm just like, oh, I got one. Yeah. It's like catching an Easter egg. It's like catching a character flaw or mistake in the show.
Right.
There's the photo, or the, what do they call them? Character posters or whatever that they put out today.
Oh yeah.
Of Anakin, young Ahsoka, and Rex. And there's so much nitpicking on specifically the Rex photo. And I loved Shauna's response on Facebook to somebody who said that he listed, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. And she's like, it's canon now.
It's like, no, now if you
not wrong anymore.
Now you're wrong.
If you have a Rex trooper, you got to go put the biceps on backwards and upside down now.
Put the elbows on funny, so it's hard to. I can understand that happening for a photo shoot.
Yeah,
if that's the exact way that it's configured in the show, I'm gonna have to look.
So I really want to look at that tonight too. I might have gone out and found at least one still from the show before I watched this. That
right. I think I saw that same one, but I want to see it in the show. So,
well, now if you're a member of the 501st or something like that, you're saying, this is my true to episode 3. Now it's my true to episode 5 of Ahsoka.
So you're probably right. If that is the case, they will very likely have to come out with another. I think they call them CRLs.
Yeah, one of the versions of it or whatever.
The document that tells you exactly how and which way to
how it breaks down,
and how many seam allowances and gaps between the plates and that sort of thing.
And it'll be specific to that episode or this series.
Right, because you can be, New Hope Vader, Empire Vader, Jedi Vader. You can be all of those things, and they all have slightly different specifications.
Especially since the costume did visually, it changed from movie to movie. So and multiples. So
want to be just for a second be slightly controversial. You know me, I do not avoid controversy too often. It's just my own feeling, right? This is just my personal opinion. There's been a lot of criticism of the particularly the actors, I think, that are playing the parts in this Ahsoka live action series, and there's a lot of discussion and points of view, some valid, about who was selected for this season. At the end of the day, for me, it's just let the season play out. Save your judgment till the end. And if you've not liked the way a particular character is being portrayed in live action, that's fine. But just wait till the end. For me, you're always going to get comments about, well, they could have picked that person for this particular character, and yeah, maybe so. But live action is different to animation, particularly voice actors, etc. And so, I think just give them a chance. Give them a chance to finish out the season, see how you feel at the end, and then talk about it. But a lot of criticism,
and a lot
I think
of
is a bit unfair.
Fan casting and what people had wanted and seen. I think this episode actually proves wrong, because everybody were saying, "Oh, well, fine, Rosario's this, that, the other, because this is why Ashley is not Ahsoka," and it's like, oh, well, why didn't they cast Ashley as young Ahsoka? Because young Ahsoka was way too young for Ashley to pull off at this point.
Yes.
And that actress did a phenomenal job. I've seen her in some other stuff. I watched the prehistoric movie with Adam Driver and her. If you hadn't seen that, you should watch that. I think it's called like 52 or something like that. 65. So yeah, 52 I think might be like the movie about like a baseball player and the Negro.
Yeah, like Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson, maybe. 42.
Anyway, yeah.
But
And
65 million years or whatever.
I would still love for them to find a place for Ashley in the live action Star Wars universe, but that wasn't it.
No.
Is even with the de-aging, and they're getting better because the de-aging on Hayden in this one, Hayden playing Matt Lanter, Anakin, was good stuff.
That was my favorite version of Anakin.
Yep, I agree.
In this, just in terms of how he looked. How he acted, my favorite version was the one in the World Between Worlds or whatever it's supposed to be representing. It could be her mind at this point. We don't know.
Yeah.
Because there weren't any actual portals. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen this episode.
And huge kudos to Ray Stevens for this season. Unbelievable acting. I just enjoyed everything he's done.
Just makes it all that much more of a huge loss that we can't get any more of this character out.
Yeah.
I love there's a lot of criticism about his saber fighting, but I love his saber fighting. It's very precise. It's like I got here, here. I don't have to pull the Anakin and Yoda and wave my saber around.
When he was fighting the troopers shooting at him, and he was just doing those like simple wrist movements, I was like,
minimal movement. Lack of wasting energy.
Yeah.
And it's very true to, if you look at some of the analysis, it's very true to real sword fighting.
Right, exactly. They're like specific, like his style was equated to a knight, I think.
Yes.
It's very much of a medieval European style of sword fighting, as opposed to a more Japanese style, which a lot of lightsaber forms are based on, is samurai and ninja type thing. So it's really cool that different form and stuff is out there that we've have yet not seen. So that leads us to believe there's room for even more stuff to be out there that we could see.
Well, it makes it that much more personal to that character if they have their individual style or they're part of a smaller group with that style, right?
Yeah.
Versus being everybody doing the same thing, kind of.
Now here's something I would.
There's a lot of martial arts that specializes in minimal movement, so that if the fight lasts for a long period of time, you're not wasting energy. You can last a lot longer, and that type of fighting he's doing is exactly that.
Yeah, like the spinny fighty like capoeira styles, parkour stuff from the prequels.
Ray Park stuff.
Yeah, y'all are gone in Ray has to do that because he's the only one that can pull that off for any amount of time at all. Just because he's insane.
He does, but the character does do his fair share of sort of pausing and prowling because he's very kind of
deliberate.
And the way he's like you're his prey kind of thing.
Yeah, his style of lightsaber duel is I think it's comparing it to the Vader in Rogue One. It's very slow, very deliberate. Blocking a blaster shot and then just choking somebody and throwing them aside. It's very deliberate, very
intent. With intent.
Yep.
Yeah. Very much so. Oh, we're 4 minutes out. Get your good old D+.
Yes. Get the D+.
I have this fear that it's paused where all I got to do is hit the play button. And I have this fear when I go to do it, it's all going to go.
Well, see, and exactly that's just what happened on mine. Is I think my Disney Plus, I had the same thing, and my Disney Plus app decided to restart.
Well, now's the time.
We have and Lila.
At the comments.
Just for the record, visit StreamYard.com.
Oh yeah.
/the Facebook, because over here in our StreamYard, you guys are still showing up as Facebook user. We gotta like flip over to the actual Facebook to see.
Look at my phone.
Who you bees? Oh
And I
yeah.
did-
And
Skip had
another, just like Ray Stevens, I think another shout out is David Tennant. Although just voicing Yang, I think the character's just made me
Amazing.
smile the entire series. Just so sassy and
very dry.
yeah.
He's sort of almost the opposite of paranoid and whiny C-3PO kind of. He's got like.
Are you gonna train me? No.
Yeah, that was one of the best exchanges.
Yeah. Do you know how to make a lightsaber? Yes. Are you gonna show me? No.
It's a very subtle combination of K2SO and 3PO. So there's a lot of care there, but there's also a lot of disregard in terms of it's very what's the word I'm looking for? It's very not just droid like, but animatronic as well. It's
smart ass is what it is.
Yeah. It's very AI, isn't it? It's very like yes or no. Black or white.
Yeah, scary.
Great
the being scruffy looking will be back very shortly because I always discover whenever I do this that I am way too lazy to stay clean shaven.
No longer a scruffy looking nerd.
Yeah. It's fine.
But
he just wanted to check to see what was underneath of there. Now he's seen it. Now it comes back out.
Well, think Obi-Wan Kenobi had a full-on beard, then he had, partial beard, mustache, and then, clean shaven.
Well, and No Shave November is coming up.
Oh yeah, well, and then that's Don't Bother December and just keep going January. It moves on. Trust me, I have all of those because I didn't shave for 2.5 years during the pandemic, maybe 3.
I'm sure by Thanksgiving you'll have a beard that you could lose a badger in.
That would.
There you go.
I haven't been letting mine get any more than a half-inch long lately, so.
Well, Bridget was like, "Are you gonna shave before you go on the show?" I said, "No, I'm not gonna go on. I'm not gonna shave."
Part of the beard batch.
Yeah, I'm working on my beard batch. It doesn't take me long to get one.
All right, it's time. It's that time. Do we want
that time?
I'm gonna throw up a 10-second countdown. Everybody, get ready. When you see the little play button, hit your Disney Plus. Here we go.
Yeah, this reminds me like every time of like Lethal Weapon. Are we going on 1? Don't go on 1. Wait, it goes to 0. Don't go on 0. It goes, let's play. It's always
I got 0 and then I played.
It's close enough.
Now there was the conversation about her burnt fingers. She did have gloves on, but she didn't have no fingertips.
Yeah, so it looks like I think she burnt her fingertips and probably felt the heat in her hand, but it probably could have been a lot worse. Anyways, don't skip the recaps, people.
Yeah, always watch the recap. So, see, look, I think this is why there were more X-Wings left than we thought, because there were 5, and I thought originally there were 4 with the Ghost.
Yeah, there are 3 left over.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So only 2 of them blew up. That was, I think, my problem as well. Was I wasn't sure what they started with. So then
I was a little confused about our friend Brandon, but he did say that.
I knew he made it.
Brandon always makes it.
The first time
I
I
was
watched.
a little confused in this.
Well, I'm happy to see that he has like another character now, and he has like a face.
And he saved Ahsoka. He pulled her out of the water.
That's one thing that if you have your subtitles on, you may notice, unless they fixed it, that when he's talking as they're pulling her out, like they say, "We got Ahsoka," they say Carson, and credit him. So unless I heard it wrong the first time or saw it wrong, anyways, that Anakin in the little recap there
Looks so much better.
He was better than before in some versions.
Oh yeah, it's not the 50-year-old Padawan, but still.
I prefer the short hair version in terms of how he looks overall. So,
that was a very much Clone Wars-esque look to him.
Yeah.
Very specific.
And I really like this planet. The red trees and the red underbrush and stuff.
Yep.
Now I think
Mexico look to it.
Like this map is a little bit more like broken in half and not like lightsabery melted that I would have thought.
That was my whole thing, was that it seemed like
clean cut.
Although you saw it happen, it seemed like what the damage would have been inside would have been very different to what you end up seeing.
Yeah,
because his blade extended through it.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be technically some sort of slice because it didn't go right away. I mean, not slice, but like a hole punched in it.
Like a melted.
But melted in terms of all those
should be
stuff that had. Yeah, there should have been some like curvature in there that was the blade shape, unless the blades are super flat, which I think is what the original intent was. But having held so many Legacy and Savi's sabers, I have this thing in my head where they need to be round.
Good evening, Peter. Yeah. Now I get to where I like the costuming on Hera more in some episodes than others, and I think I like it a little bit better. She shows up a little bit better here. I still think the markings on her leg view should be like way more pronounced, like they appear to be in Rebels.
Yeah, but right there they seem a little rubbery when she's moving her head.
Well, there have been times in earlier episodes when she's actually in artificial light that you can see the markings more so than you can do it
right
now.
Yeah, it varies depending on the lighting for sure, but so does the way her skin tone versus the Leku tone looks in a lot of scenes.
I just need that jacket. I need that jacket. It is beautiful.
This weekend was a pop-up shop in LA, right, Jeff?
In Anaheim at the Garden Walk, which is 2 blocks from Disneyland, is having a pop-up of heroes and villains stuff. And that jacket, almost exactly that jacket, not quite the same. They're pretty close.
It's a little bit more of like the cartoony kind of stuff. I think it's like a crop jacket, but it's basically got a lot of those patches.
And I think it has a like pleating in the sleeve and some other details that aren't necessarily in that jacket, but it has the big patch, I think, on the back.
And I'm not into this toned down Sabine helmet that we're getting.
Yeah, it's a very kind of basic helmet compared to what she's normally done.
What Huang says here is it's exactly what I was thinking in the previous episode is, why didn't you stay together?
Because he told them to. That's the first rule of cinema.
Of raising children.
It's all done. They're done.
Why didn't you hold your brother's hand?
Right here.
You said it. I'm not going to do it.
I think the World Between Worlds, Mortis is done so well here. The visual part of it.
So the thing I was mentioning earlier is that it's been pointed out there, you don't see any portals.
Right. That is correct.
Is it truly the World Between World or a representation in her head?
Or, you want to go down that road, we can start talking about the fact that he's the father and she's the daughter, and they don't need portals to get into the World Between Worlds.
Okay. Fair enough.
And there's also the argument that he could be the son because, he still could be.
Well, no, I think that
he was acting like the father.
Didn't the father say that you will take over for me? I thought he was destined to be the father.
But yes, but again, at that point, he wasn't yet gone to the dark side, but the father should have known that he would. So yes, there's an argument both ways there. I still don't like the skin tone they have for Ahsoka in this show. Is hers gets really weird.
Sometimes it's very harsh, and it seems like it's very makeup-y looking.
Yeah. I won't fight you. Okay. He's like, go right ahead. Yeah, say that now.
What I didn't
Did you see the comparison of Return of the Jedi, where Vader and Luke are fighting, compared to this one?
I did not.
I thought it was done very well because basically, at this point, he has been. I'll get into that later. He has been Anakin Vader, and then is now gone. He's passed on. He's gone back to his light side. But I have a theory personally that at this point in time, because he lived through all of that, he has the ability, because he's dead, that he can transpose himself in different parts of his history. He can be more Vader. He can be more Anakin Clone Wars. He can move back and forth, and he's doing
pulling
that.
Those things from the different times. Kind of.
He's doing that to express to Ahsoka the emphasis of his story.
Yeah, Sherry, I think that theory that she completely could be just in her mind.
That's kind of what I was.
It's like it's what Skip was alluding to. There's no portal there, so this could be an after image and of her remembering her time in Mortis from before. Now, this got a little annoying to me. I love Carson, and I'm glad that he was in a lot of this, but he's just like, the fleet wants us back. The fleet wants us back. The fleet wants us back. And she's like, I'm a freaking general. Deal with it. And he's just like, why? And it further gives me the garbage of what's wrong with the New Republic government, which is they're just micromanaging this and that. When Mon Mothma comes up, there's like, oh, well, there's not really a threat of Thrawn. You have to come back here. Why? Why do I need to be sitting there?
They've become too comfortable.
Yeah.
They have.
You're using our resources.
He's really growing on me, actually, between episode 4 and 5 as more of Hera.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite parts of this episode with Jason. He says, Mom, listen, can't you hear it? Can't you hear it?
Yeah.
And you can see the markings on her Leku.
Yeah.
There you can see him.
Well, and I think it's fun that Chopper's sitting there with them too. It's not just them, it's them and Chopper.
What's weird about that is it takes Chopper all the way until the end of her whatever's going on, her time in the world between worlds, to actually locate her.
Well, see, that's the other argument again. That's the argument against.
Right. She wasn't there, right?
She's not actually there. She doesn't show back up until the point when Chopper locates her.
So that's when she physically returns through.
She returns from the portal, and then she's able to be spotted.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. I love the way they really the audio mix on this was amazing, where they subtly snuck in the lightsabers in the waves crashing.
Absolutely. I went back and listened to this episode again, and you can hear it a little bit more so even earlier when you look at it.
You're aware of it, right? Yeah. But I won't think of waves crashing the same when I hear them now.
I think like a nitpicky thing, and it doesn't overly take away from my enjoyment of it, but it's a notice. I think the scale of the ghost is off. The ghost is too small.
Just a little bit. Yeah. If you look at all those scenes in Rebels where the ramp comes down, the entrance of the ramp starts higher above the ground, but it's not much.
Right.
It could be, Sherry, that they've made them go back. Like more of a cosplayer's lecu instead of sideways, kind of like pigtails or something like you see in animation.
They also start differently on her head because her whole head piece is designed very different than what the animated version is based on.
Yeah, I've
like her head is
about that from day one because her eyes are physically much smaller because she's a real human. Her goggles are much smaller, and that kind of throws off the whole.
But it's like they totally sit differently, like sit here versus up on top.
Now this was crazy. Like when they smash the bridge or whatever they're on, and you're like, holy crap! But then
this reveal was amazing.
Yes, I did not see it coming that this was young Ahsoka
until in the middle of her
until now.
Right.
As soon as she says wait, and then I'm like, what?
Just the outline of her, you could tell it was not adult Ahsoka.
Well, when she stands up all the way, you definitely have that teen kind of feel.
The last thing he says to her is, like, I haven't taught you everything. So he's even now taking her to a point in her, what's the word? Memories, existence, whatever, that she needs to learn from. This is something that's happened in the past. You need to reflect upon it. You need to remember what happened. And move on from there. So,
yeah, the different phases of her sort of development.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Chantel. I mean, this is definitely, they had to go to the world between worlds, and whether they chose to not put the portals for whatever reason or make it ambiguous is they needed that for them to interact and for us to get this level of amazing flashback scenery here.
I'm kind of thinking at this point that they may have just decided to leave that part out because it would have been harder to represent. Maybe it wouldn't have looked right or as good on in live action as it kind of worked in a kid's show. And also a kid's show, they might want to put something that's more specific visually for the kids to get the vibe from. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you think about the sequence,
go ahead, Jonathan.
Sorry, I apologize. If you think about the sequence, it's the opposite of, Obi-Wan training, Anakin, and Yoda training Luke, where, it's like, well, what about my training? Never mind about that. Come into battle. You'll learn from this. It's an experience that'll teach you.
And I don't think these are things, they're altering it. They're things. This is a different reality. It's not exactly what happened before because they're interacting in a different way. This is like, the ghost of Christmas past.
Yeah, exactly. She has all this other knowledge, and then she's reliving it and having to deal with it in a different way.
And you've got these other characters in here that are just kind of thrown in. There's several other Twi'lek in here that you're just like, who are these people? I don't know.
This will imply where the battle took place, I think.
Yeah, this is the Battle of Ryloth.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
and grieving over the loss of the clone troopers, that are.
Well, I've heard it said several times that the basically what they tried to set up, or somebody's version of what they tried to set up, was that she was trying to discover through all of this, or what she's trying to learn, her issue that she's trying to overcome is her legacy the same as Anakin's? Is she all about death and destruction? She's looking back and seeing that she's more than that, and so she's reaching out and she's touching them as she's leaving. This is the beginning of the lesson. This is about the first third of her stay in the world between worlds in this episode. So right now she's still learning, but I think that this actress gives a better relationship, or one that's more familiar to all of us, with Snips and Sky Guy, and that's because she's younger. Rosaria is supposed to be older at this point in time, so there's not as much of the playful banter as you get as a teenager and an adult, dad and daughter kind of thing,
This
But
version
she's
of
got a
Anakin
point,
is
we're supposed to be keepers of the peace, not soldiers. We're not warriors. We're supposed to be wise and guardians, and we're not built for war,
Well,
But
she
he's saying,
realizes
times have changed, you need to be a soldier.
well, Anakin got caught up in it. That was the trap. This is the trap. This is the trap that Sidious set up.
Precisely.
Create a
Precisely.
war and trap these Jedi into thinking that they have to fight. And she's saying, no, we still need to be true to who we are. Maybe even while we're fighting, that it's about life.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
But this is the whole process of her learning.
No, I do think they really they cheaped out a little bit that every clone trooper that you see with their helmet off is wrapped in a bandage that has something over their face.
That's kind of annoying. They should have done nobody with their helmet off or one with their helmet off if they're going to do it that way.
Wow.
My other problem is they all look like they have big clone butts. I don't know if that's just the armor or.
Wow. And as he walks into the distance, she foresees
so
the Vader profile.
When I first saw that juxtaposition, I was like, "Oh,
wow!"
Yeah. And he's phasing in and out,
Yeah, she's seeing the transition,
or she's seeing him for who he is. The difference in Anakin and Ahsoka, which is what she needed to realize in this journey, is there's a difference between the two of them. She is not his legacy.
Yeah.
Her legacy is not death and destruction like Anakin and Vader. Hers is a different.
She's foreseeing his future, and I don't think we've seen that in many Jedi, to foresee somebody's ability to.
Always clouded the future is emotion. But see, that's weird because she's seeing his future, but she's seeing his future from the future, so it's the past. So she's not really foreseeing. It's kind of a thing.
It would be nice if we saw some Rex in the future, but
Blake. But I don't think that we're gonna see present day Rex in this series, since they've already peeped out and didn't bring in Tamora for this sequence. If we'd seen Tamora in this sequence, we'd have known, they got him for this show. He's in it. If we see Rex, I don't think it'll be till I don't think it'll be in this. Maybe in the movie. They still open it up for making that a big scene. But if they were going to bring in Tamora, I would have thought they'd have brought him in for that.
Tamora in a trailer today, the Aquaman 2 or whatever it is, trailer dropped, and he plays the dad still, so that's good. He's in the trailer. That's nice.
Normally, no. She's like, what do you know? So, do you think Hera, surely, Kanan and Ezra and Ahsoka talked about the world between worlds, and Hera has an idea, or does Huyang know about it and she doesn't?
You would think she'd be somewhat aware of it. Like, where did what happened? How did whatever? It's some sort of little bit of info about it, at least, if not, in-depth stories, because it'd be so weird you want to tell everybody about it. Intense. I love that line.
How low can you go? As low.
You went intense. Love that line.
What's it called? I love how they got to tell them to go closer and lower. I know.
Boom. Now this is Ahsoka fighting style. This is what I've been looking for the whole series long. The crazy little movements and going all over the place.
You're 20 seconds ahead of me.
Am I?
Little bit.
Well, and this is more, this timeline, she's left the Jedi Order and she's, in her most advanced training.
Right now she struck down the Mando, Maul Mando.
Yeah, now this is the Siege of Mandalore.
Right.
He's able to bend his elbows. Okay, anyway, that's where I'm at. And this is where she comes in and talks to Anakin again, I guess.
And she walks a little bit more savvy, she's expressing the age change.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, and here's my thing about the people complaining about the Rex armor is maybe they didn't see it until like the poster came out, but like when I was sitting here and I said that I was going to look for it, no, just hearing Tamora's voice and hearing Rex and watching Rex as I looked at the helmet, I'm looking for his face, and I'm not looking at that. I didn't care. It was emotional enough that who cares?
You got the voice and you got that iconic helmet, and obviously the rest of the armor is appropriate, so that works. You could see they did take liberty and do some alterations, but
so point of question: at what point does Ahsoka get the curved lightsabers? Are those the ones that she creates when she recaptures the crystals from the Inquisitor? Because she does not have curved lightsabers here.
She has the straight ones here, right?
Yeah, I was just. She was standing there with her back to us and the sabers down, and I'm like, those are the ones that are sitting against my wall over here.
The chrome ones or whatever.
Yeah. So she started off in the Battle of Ryloth with the greens. This is the blue, and she's fighting him and Mortis with the white.
So she has the pair. Yeah, but those are the ones that
and I don't know everybody's names here, but somebody was mentioning that this took them back to when they were a kid watching the show, and that just goes to say they did a really good job of connecting live action to Clone Wars, so that you feel what you felt when you were a kid watching this right now.
Yeah, that's Blake saying that. I'm got it up over here in the Facebook chat.
So with this sequence, just want to mention real quick is, you have a choice, live or die, and only Sith deal in absolutes.
Absolutely.
This is my favorite. That right there is just mind blowing to me. And he's just flexing his shoulders and phasing between those characters because he's dead. This is once again my personal theory is that he's dead and he's able to be whoever he needs to be in his timeline, in anywhere in his timeline. He can be Anakin. He can be Darth Vader. He can flip back and forth for the purpose
using
of
the red
what it needs to.
And he's using the red saber with the yellow eyes.
Or again, here this could just be all in her head. This is her on the brink of death, fighting back within her brain. This is the fighting for life within her brain. It's the classic flashback that you see on every doctor show ever made.
Of course, this is in your head, but why does it mean that it's any less real?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that little lean in, like a threat. Like, love that.
And why couldn't Anakin just force grab the damn saber?
Why is it that a world between worlds? Yeah, say that 10 times real fast. How do we know that that's not just in everybody's head? That you go into some kind of stasis and this is what you see.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Completely.
You want to go down that road?
That is the thing of the world between worlds. It can be so many different ways, and who knows how we will continue to see it.
I forgot who brought it up on Tuesday in the cantina that on what was it, the third season Blu-ray, everybody's expecting a big explanation of the world between worlds, and Filoni comes out and says, yeah, we have all the notes. George has decided how all of this works, and we're not telling you. The whole purpose is to leave it vague so that your mind fills it in and you come to your own conclusions.
Yeah,
So,
I'm pretty sure that was the Cookopedia telling us about that.
So I think there are things in this session of the World Between Worlds that are not complete, do not look like Rebels or any other version of this purposefully,
And I think
because that's the method of providing information about this little world.
And I think that last sequence was the second time we've probably seen meaningful remorse from Anakin. He was genuinely upset and sad and said, "Well, you have more to learn."
Yeah. But sad, remorseful, but still like happy. Yeah, that she had chosen life. He's happy for her that she chose that she didn't give up as kind of maybe he did, and she's moving back on.
Well, he gets back to the I've recovered and I'm back in the light side, Anakin, and looks at her with that appearance and then smiles because he got what he wanted.
Yeah. And I see here's the funny in the direction. We talked about there being no portals, but when she is swallowed back up by the water, do you notice the ripples form like a perfect like concentric circles around where her head disappears? That's not past Dave for like being artsy with his direction on that's the portal.
He's sitting there listening to all these conversations out there in social media and just giggling and laughing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the rescue was really dramatic, and then the weather changes like instantaneously, and it's all great.
And did she not ingest any water at all? She didn't spit any out or act like she was drowning, or is she a species that can survive underwater?
Who knows? We talked about this in the we talked about this in the support group. This is the first time we've seen Ahsoka without the headdress.
And it's a little odd. I didn't really notice it at first. When I look at it,
it's a very smooth transition. I mean, the appliance is applied really well. I don't love what they've done with the border of the paint.
I'm fine with that. My skin doesn't go one color than the other. It transitions. I would imagine.
Yeah, but I don't. I think the transition is still a little harsh. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well,
it looks
more
it's
like kind of hard to go from orange to white without having there be some kind of harshness there. But at this point in time, even before she gets dressed, you can see her leku are more white at this point in time. If you look closely, because I did, being this my fourth time seeing this episode, I was looking for the color change and noting that the blue in the leku is a little bit lighter. It's not as dark. She's and I was thinking right as she was going into the water. In fact, as she went from young Ahsoka back into adult Ahsoka, you could see that there was a change in that color.
And then here it is. Here we really like hit it over the top. See, Blake, I think she's already got her Padawan. She's already training Ahsoka. I don't think she'll add Jason to that. And I don't think that Hera is ready for her to train Jason. I don't think she's going to let that happen at this age.
No. Well, Ezra was proof positive that you don't have to start as a youngling. You can be a teenager and successfully learn how to be a Jedi and not cross over to the dark side.
Right. Especially as Jason is such a hugely force sensitive son of a Jedi. So
I think that's where she'll send him when the time comes.
I don't know. There's lots of things to to go and places that they could put this is, does Jason get sent to Luke's Jedi temple and, hijinks and things abound there?
So Jason hearing the sabers actually cements the idea that it was truly the world between worlds.
I don't see the sending off to a temple type environment because his mother watched Ezra learn, and it was more in a family pod type of environment than go to a more formal school environment.
But what if you end up with Ahsoka ends up going there, and Ahsoka is a trainer there? She's already, but you know what I'm saying? She's already there at the beginning of it. Is Ahsoka,
I guess we'll find out.
I don't think Dave will do this. I don't think, but I think somebody at Disney is already planning for the Luke's Jedi Temple version of Hogwarts, and then seeing the money hand over fist is like, oh, this is what we could do. We could have the Jedi invented temple tale.
So this sequence of leaving an impression is incredible. We've seen it before, but just to retrace something that's happened in the past by holding something that has an impression on it to provide information on what's happened that would potentially allow them to find Sabine and what's going on.
Troy, as much of a EU digester I'm surprised that I didn't catch the Jason thing that you were talking about.
Yeah,
and do it for Ezra. That was a great line for me.
An interesting choice when they named Syndulla Jason as opposed to Solo, and then chose Ben as the Solo when they do the sequel trilogies.
Walker or whatever. Yeah. So is this a third headpiece that she's wearing?
Yeah, she had to have I guess she lost the other one in the water or something, and
I got more than one pair of underwear.
Here comes Carson again, moaning.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he be able to tell her this over some kind of comm?
Well,
He's paid more to be there in person.
Yeah, that's true. Good for him.
I'll deal with this.
Yeah, he complained his way through this episode.
Yeah, see, I was sitting here, she's looking at the helmet, and I'm just like, oh, well, maybe there was Sabine had this is how she had tricked them, is she had recorded the whole deal, and you could they found the way to it, as opposed to what we're about to see, how they find their way there.
Well, we don't know.
One of the things I found interesting is that, at this point in time, she's supposed to have learned something from Anakin. And so now we're going to see the transition in her way of thinking. And when she was listening to the ghost of Sabine, when she's holding the map, she doesn't seem to get frustrated at Sabine for doing what she did. I think there's an acceptance, a new, fresh acceptance of accepting people for who they are. And of course, Sabine's going to go get Ezra. That was her goal from the get-go. How could I ask her to kind of okay, this is a stretch. So Ahsoka stays true to who the Jedi were, but she has to do that. She has to leave the Order. Sabine is being told by her master to do something which will actually, go against everything she believes in not going to get Ezra. So of course she's going to do that. Why would I ask her to do something like that?
Do you have your volume up, Skip?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mainly from you kicked off. Possibly.
We've taken from Andor to really like Mon Mothma, and we get more
like the other side.
This is from her the opposite. Is are we going to start to dislike her as the smarmy politician?
Yep, this is by the books, Mon Mothma.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you read a lot of EU, she was trying to hold everything together.
Yes. Good evening. We are doing well. We are 36 and 37 there into the episode. About to see, about to see John Drake's favorite part of the episode.
Yeah, this is the part that Spencer said when he was in the theater. He knew that John was throwing stuff, trash in his living room or something.
And look at how much whiter and lighter the inside of this cockpit is at, the lighting in Ahsoka, the white here.
Hey, Pete, how you doing? Nice to hear from you.
Yeah,
And we
Troy,
do not need any Star Trek parallels right now. Thank you very much. None.
There are plenty. None. This is just
Shut it.
Star Trek 4 all day long.
What does Captain Jack Sparrow say? Shut it.
Spencer would be all about the quotes right now if he was here.
Well, I love the meme that they put up. It's like Gracie's pregnant.
Yeah, I don't get that. Is that a Star Trek reference?
It's hard not to say, there be whales.
Yeah, there be whales. But yeah, in Star Trek 4, Spock jumps into the tank with some earthbound humpback whales, and he mind melds with them like Ahsoka is talking to these whales through the Force.
Oh, right. Okay.
So,
well, if we're gonna go there, we're gonna talk about the Star Trek episode where the entire universe gets threatened by a pepper army.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
a big cylindrical tube that is threatening the entire future of the human race.
Yeah, it was a little stretch. Hey, at least she doesn't have the Star Trek space boots on to keep her on there.
Yep,
right.
Doesn't need them.
Yeah,
I love this. This is great.
The thing where the Purgles go to vehicles where they're going inside and they're playing, Pinocchio. I was like, I was on board when I thought maybe they were going to follow them or they were going to, get.
I thought they were going to ride their trail or
ride the wake or something.
On some kind of same stream with them.
I thought she was going to. They were going to grab her ship instead of her go in their mouth.
No, she's learning. She's interacting. She's communicating. You can just see her look at each one, smiling and taking everything in that their information that they're providing.
Well, she doesn't even know what they're providing.
No
information.
No.
Guidance.
Nope.
That's so dumb. He would like Catherine said, he would have aged horribly because he was younger than Anakin by 10 years.
Yeah.
And he's still, I don't know. He still looks like it. Maybe
this is fun. The Carson Teva bluff trying to stop the military bureaucracy.
It's fun, and then I didn't like how he ended it because he had too much information, as it was happening. That it was like he shouldn't have necessarily understood that all that stuff. Yeah, her and the whale or the Purgle, because it hadn't really happened yet. He would have had to have described it after the fact. It would have made more sense to me.
Is this the first time we've seen one of those parrot critters in live action? I think it is. Yeah.
Well, in Jabba's palace, there's one.
Is there?
So in the shows, sure, but in the movies, no.
I'll give you one last chance, Captain Teva.
Yeah, I think that the Heroes and Villains jacket is missing that big Phoenix Squadron patch on the side.
Yeah, I love that. That's what makes that jacket is the Phoenix Squadron patch.
Yeah, that's the shirt I'm looking at. There's a Phoenix Squadron Rebel Rebel logo that's combined into.
That's one of those shirts. If you get that on it and somebody recognizes you, you go, "Yeah, a real fan."
Is she's changed outfits again? This one is even more white. She was just wearing kind of a white cloak, and now the under outfit is more white, and the white gauntlets as well.
Yeah, her whole vibe way lighter.
That'll be available in Doc Ondars within a couple of months, probably.
That's a pretty cool little sort of cloak thing.
It is. I like that look. It's really cool.
But they keep not showing her left hand.
Yeah.
I want to see burns on it. This weirded me out. What are you doing?
Yeah, see, now she's raised her hand. She's smiling, and she's got information.
Turn it down, Skip.
Can I get back in?
Get in there. All right. But you best come back inside.
Is that better?
It's just the themes are the ones that are going to get tagged.
Yeah, when you hear like the dramatic music like that, is it?
The regular audio is fine. When the music comes up in the background, it's like, no, watch out. But also hearing it on your end is a little distracting since I can't hear it on my end. If we watch with the sound down, or like Dave does with earbuds in.
Yep.
I love that. We have no idea.
No way.
But we're going to go anyway.
Yeah, a couple of questions. Did squadrons actually happen? I don't know. I've never seen a good one way or the other, whether that is particularly that is canon. And like was Tenet on set? I mean, I'd love to think he was, that would make some cool back and forth, but you know,
I think Filoni's big on involving his voice actors with each other. So you would think that there's probably a possibility, maybe he wasn't standing there and acting, but that he had seen some of this so he could connect better with the character.
Maybe, but I mean, this is different than Rebels, and where everybody's a voice actor. You know, you would just really have had Tennant and Tamora, who would be the voice actors. Well, and Sam, I guess, because we allege that he was Morak.
I think if he was Morak, he would have been credited as Morak, just as extra voices or whatever. But was anybody?
But I don't know if they did that just to throw us off for a while.
Lila, that's going to be a great ride.
Yeah, the Disney Purgle ride. Look, they could really just. Isn't there like a Pinocchio ride you could repurpose that's got to be the same thing?
Well, considering they're adding Ahsoka to Star Tours.
Yeah.
My first thought was she would be one of the holograms that guides you to the, in that interim step where she talks about being thankful for the spy.
But they could also do this jump.
Yes, exactly.
Purgles.
This could be one of the parts where you fly into a Purgle's mouth and then it jumps, or you see him jump, or something happens like that. So that would be kind of trippy. But
I find that it lends to a interesting next couple episodes with Hera and the troops not going with him, just her.
Yeah, you'll have to see if they kind of pull an Andor and they go and they have multiple things going on at once, as you see what's happening with Hera back at headquarters, and you see what's happening with them out in the vast reaches, or do they push the Hera story just way back to the side and you don't see any of that?
Yeah, this episode has made me more curious about how they're going to handle that than I was concerned about it in the early episodes.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I think that we're probably going to see, like, a guess, but we'll probably see a split storyline with Hera and Sabine, and then Ahsoka. So different sequences as we progress through the storyline. And by the way, you're talking about adding Ahsoka to Star Tours. Well, if you think about it, all the characters that we've seen added to that particular attraction has always been talking about the rebel spy and the importance of the mission. So I don't know if we'll see anything else on there introduced to that particular attraction as a an individual that will talk about the mission, not a sequence of that ride. So,
and they haven't gotten any of the new characters in East down there with you, have they, Jonathan? Is all the new characters that they're putting in are only in Disneyland?
Yes, we've only. I was lucky enough to be privileged to meet Mandalorian and Grogu twice this past week. And then no, it was only Rey and Chewbacca. So no, none of the new characters yet, which is kind of odd. But maybe they're just testing them out in Disneyland before they introduce them over here. But nothing so far.
Well, it's got to be. I think to play such familiar like face characters, that's got to be like a harder casting kind of deal. Well, you've got to have real specifics to get those people.
Yeah, we have Fennec Shand, who walks around with her helmet off. Boba Fett wears his helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Mando wears his helmet, obviously. Grogu's in his pouch, so that doesn't count. And then the two new ones, Hera and Ahsoka, are, I think, very specific. But it wouldn't be that hard to find somebody, because really you're selling it with the face paint for the most part.
Right. But I'm saying is, out there you have a much broader selection of prospective actors, to a pool of people to immediately pull from.
We have a lot of princesses and stuff that they have in the parks in East.
Yeah.
To find somebody along those lines.
Yeah, that's true. I really don't understand or have no knowledge of why we don't have such a broader spectrum of
cast characters.
Yeah, I don't know why. You could look at the heat, you could look at lack of talent. I genuinely have no answer to that.
Well, that would be
to be fair,
if it's a thing about the Florida heat, humidity, and the makeup that's required to do it. That would be
possibly. And in fairness, I can't say that I have massive insight into this, but up until a week ago, I hadn't really seen Mandalorian since April. So that might have something to do with it. But there's a Rey that I saw last week that is so like Daisy Ridley. It was uncanny. It was just almost like, I'll send you a picture so you can see, and very, very, very lifelike. Yeah, close to Daisy Ridley.
So could you go closer? Do they have Star Tours in Tokyo? Does anybody know? Like that would be a lot kind of, I would assume, a closer trip. And of course, Celebration coming there, knock it all out at once. Hit your Star Tours and your Celebration.
I will report back to you when I get there.
Yes, there you go. I'm going to Google it because I'm curious.
Don't know.
But so what are we thinking let's do predictions as we do. Like what do we think? What do we want to see? What do we think we're going to see in the next episode?
Well, I think I've already given my personal opinion. I think we'll see the story split into three, just momentarily for an episode or two, split into three areas, being, Ahsoka with the pursuit of rescuing Sabine, and then I think we'll probably see the storyline go to probably Mon Mothma and that whole kind of political thing, and then obviously Hera, with that kind of sequence of So I think you'll see it split and different journeys being taken, probably for an episode or two.
I'm thinking we're going to see more of Balin and everybody that's with Sabine on that ship, and then a little bit of Ahsoka traveling as well, and then maybe Hera interacting back with Mon Mothma, but I think that would be combined, like Mon Mothma's thing with Hera, but I don't know. But I have a feeling that they might not line up exactly when they come out of hyperspace.
Yeah, is that they're not going to be immediately there, and Ahsoka's immediately on or immediately interacting with the ship with Sabine and Morgan and Balin.
Right.
It's like
I'm with Kale here. I think that we're going into episode 6, so we're going to see. Yes, I see it. Thrawn. I think but I don't think it's going to be a full episode of Thrawn. I think it's going to be the teaser, maybe halfway to the last third of the show.
I think it'll be the last scene.
But I don't think we're going to see Ezra until at least episode 7, with maybe some significant role in episode 8. I think that I'm not sure that they've got the room to run both storylines, and I think they're going to go heavy with the Thrawn and Ahsoka. If we get lucky, maybe Ahsoka and Sabine will reunite in this next episode, but at least not episode 6, episode 7.
Yeah, they need to bring in Thrawn sooner rather than later. If they pull like the Force Awakens and he's only in like the last scene and you just see the little bits that you saw in the trailer, and that's all that he's in this series, that's gonna irk me.
I think he's gonna be the last scene of the next episode or the one after that.
Prepare to be irked.
Yeah. Well, it's possible. I would be okay if you do that with Ezra. Okay, if Ezra just shows up like the last minute of the last episode and that's your teaser, fine. Okay, who cares? But you've built enough of Thrawn and you've built enough on who's the actor for Thrawn. We need to see some more of that.
Ideally, end of episode 7 going into 8. I agree with you, Dave. If it's 8 and it's a cliffhanger, then that sucks.
Especially since it may be 2 years before or more before we get this movie.
Yeah. It could be a long time.
Because they've got 3 different storylines to deal with in the movie area, and they're not going to do them boom, boom, boom.
There may be more stuff introduced between now and then as well, like Skeleton Crew or.
But there's been enough build up for Thrawn to just give us something,
Well, there'll be stuff in between, but I don't think the stuff in between is going to have a whole lot to do with it because we're going to get the Acolyte somewhere in between,
right? And
that's a whole other time period that won't matter. Skeleton Crew is this time period, but it's more of a kid show. Yeah. So we may see some hints or things that will build this into it, but I can't see. I don't know, but I can't see the Skeleton Crew characters being ones that will reappear in the movie.
No.
We were talking the other night about Mando season 4 could build on this, is you could get Din and those characters involved in whatever's going on. But who knows? There's a lot of unknowns. Like, have we? What did we say? They were saying in the chat is, have we heard if there is going to be a season 2? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about an Ahsoka season 2.
There hasn't been any even conversation about it.
But we're in a weird time, in a weird place. Would they even be having that conversation during the strike? The reason why we may not have heard anything about anything could be that.
I mean, look,
Iger out there saying we're going to pull back content. We're going to pull back content.
Yeah, I mean, look, anything's possible. I would say probably not. I think there was much more of a story arc with Mandalorian to build, not so much with Ahsoka. But you never know.
But as many people as disliked Kenobi, there's way more of a push for a Kenobi season 2, and so many more people. This has been much more popular as a whole as Kenobi. Are they gonna, say, oh, well, we need a season 2 of this because this is so much more,
Season 2, I think, is going to be a movie.
Well, the movie is coming to the Filoniverse, but it's going to be it's supposed to come.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna throw controversy into the conversation. What about people that don't like the animated series? What about people that don't like the Filoniverse?
So
They get to watch
I get a lot of reactions at work from people who are fringe Star Wars fans or even not Star Wars fans who have seen the build up to this and are watching this now. And it's kind of, it's at least people that I know, an even split amongst people who went back and watched some Clone Wars and some Rebels and got prepared for it. And then some other people who are just sitting down watching this and still enjoying it. They're having to ask questions. They're like the one going, hey, who's the green lady? But
I'm more referring to people that just, don't watch the animated series, don't really watch, the content on D+ and really want the movies, the original generation of what we've, grown up with on Star Wars. What about their thoughts? But we'll see.
You still have people that aren't even watching these shows. That you're going to get a Dave Filoni movie. He's going to do Heir to the Empire, and there's going to be a whole crew of people there who are going to go, what the hell's going on? Because they haven't watched the Mandoverse.
Yeah, be interesting to see where they head from there. So
I've created my watch list for those friends that ask, well, what should I watch ahead of time? Okay, you need to watch these episodes.
And if you want to know of any of that, there's a whole playlist of the Summer of Snips right here on the Virtual Cantina.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, if you can't keep up with what's going on, please watch the Summer of Snips.
Well, I was telling Dave the other day, it's funny. I'm over at 84 Lumber, and as I'm trying to get out of there, this is on Wednesday. There's forklift drivers pulling up, going, "Hey, did you watch the episode?" And I'm like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah." So what did you think? And they've got all these, and so they're having to ask me, "Well, what about this?" And then I'm having to explain, and then hear their theories, and then they want to hear my theory. And it took me an extra half hour to get out of 84 Lumber the other day because I was getting stopped by. But hey, that must mean I'm considered an expert.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's why you're on the show tonight, because you are.
I have arrived.
It's funny, and I'm actually enjoying it. Taking the time to explain things to people that I know that haven't seen, anything before Ahsoka related to this season, and it's been great to explain to them. But my reaction is always, go watch it. It's really, really amazing stuff. It's not just to keep up with Ahsoka and what's going on, but just for your own enjoyment. To if you love Star Wars, just go watch it.
Oh gosh, the last two episodes of season 7 of Clone Wars is some of the best Star Wars content that's ever been put out there, animated or live action.
Completely.
And if you've missed it, you really missed out on all of that. My generation, I was 9 years old when A New Hope came out. I watched it at the movies. Then we got it on VHS, and I watched the heck out of it until Empire came out. And then I was so bummed when I got a kind of a slightly cliffhanger ending to Empire. And then, but then Return of the Jedi came out, and there's no content. We've had this conversation before. We went from 83 to 91 until Heir of the Empire came out. That excludes and Splinter the Mind's Eye was during the movies, but the 3 Han Solo movie or Han Solo books, Han Solo at Star's End, Han Solo's Revenge, and I forget what the last one was. Sorry, I saw Kale's thing going. I was minus 22.
Yeah, minus 22.
I thought it was 22. I was like, you were looking awfully young for somebody that was 22 and 77. And then I was like, minus 22. Yes, I'm an old man. You can't see it on the screen, but the thing on my face is old man Ruckle.
In the theater in 77.
Yeah. Well, we can ramble along all night and exchange wonderful stories, but we have to let these wonderful people go.
We do.
We're going to wrap up this evening.
Thank everybody for coming and watching with us tonight. We'll do this again next week. Remember that at midnight Pacific tonight, the Ahsoka after show is going to drop. And if you want more of a discussion on that, you guys can watch that on demand tonight, tomorrow, whenever. Bryce, John, and Mike will do kind of a deeper dive and discussion about this. So we've got that going. We'll have some more take on Rebels and the backstory and things that have happened in Star Wars Rebels. Things that you're seeing culmination of will be Monday on a new Rebels Revisited, and Tuesday we will do this all again with part 6. Is come join us for the happy hour. Come join us for happy hour. We'll leave for about an hour and 15 minutes to watch the episode, and then come back on for support group. Immediately following the episode, we are right back on here and doing this kind of thing live, and we've really enjoyed seeing a lot of new people that aren't regulars in the cantina who come in and need that kind of decompression and discussion of what's going on in the episodes. Yeah,
I feel like we've needed it this season more than any other season of Star Wars content.
We really have, and I'm so happy. I really love that they're doing this again, must-see TV. It's destination television where we can all have that experience. That is something that I think a lot of this generation has missed having with the advent of streaming networks, and this is doing it for him. And I hope that model continues with some other stuff.
I know a lot of people are into the midnight 3 a.m. drop thing and being up in the middle of the night to watch it or whatever, but having it on at a reasonable hour that a good majority of people could all watch simultaneously really gives it a different vibe. And then again, having that support group right after, rather
being able to get together
in the morning or something.
Yep, that's cool. Well, again,
thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks for watching us.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan, for joining us even through the bad weather. Jeff, thanks for driving, and Skip, thanks for coming on for your premiere episode. We hope to see you back.
Great time.
Excellent.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, may the Force be with you.
Always.